All right, let's dive into a really powerful ancient story. It's a parable that's all about faith, pride, and this idea of divine justice. We're talking about a peaceful field, a super prideful warlord, and a storm that comes from somewhere, well, somewhere you'd never expect. So the story kicks off with this line right here. Hearken, O children of the dust, to the mystery of the threshing floor. I mean, wow. It just immediately sets this really mythic, really serious tone, right? It's basically an invitation telling us to lean in and listen close because we're about to uncover a mystery that's meant to echo through time. Okay, so here's the scene. Our story opens in this wide, peaceful field. You've got the Lord of the Harvest, who has gathered up his people who had been scattered all over the place, and he brings them together in this safe haven. But, their idea of safety, it's a little different than what you might think. And this is what's so wild about it. Their security, it's not about physical walls. There are no barred gates. They literally say, "The Lord is our wall, and his righteousness is our gate." Their entire protection is spiritual. It's all about this complete, total trust in their protector. Can you just imagine that level of faith? Believing that your belief system is your fortress. It's pretty profound. So, what does this unwalled village actually symbolize? Well, it's not just a physical location. It's really a state of being. It represents God's people, and you can interpret that as either ancient Israel or the church, who are now living in this restored spiritual peace after going through some really hard times, like exile. But, of course, peace like this, it never seems to last, does it? There's always a threat on the horizon. And in this story, that threat comes from a very, very specific direction. A shadow starts to gather up in the north, and out of that shadow comes a warlord named Gog. Now this guy, Gog, he's not your average bad guy. He's the embodiment of a very specific kind of evil, the kind that's just dripping with the pride of ancient empires. You can just picture it, right? He's basically a predator, defined by pure arrogance and a long history of just taking whatever he wants. So you have to ask, why the North? Why is that detail so important? Well, this is absolutely crucial. In a lot of biblical symbolism, the North is the direction where disaster just appears. It's the unexpected, overwhelming judgment or chaos. It's your blind spot, the one place you're not looking. And what about Gog himself? It's important to know he isn't supposed to be some specific king from a history book. He's an archetype. Think of him as the chief prince of rebellion. He's the ultimate symbol for any leader, any power that decides to stand up and oppose the divine kingdom. He's the pattern. Okay, so we've met our bad guy, and this is where the plot really starts to kick into gear. See, Gog's massive pride makes him the perfect target for a little whisper of deception, a temptation that's about to unleash a truly evil plan. So this is what the deceiver whispers to him. Look at that field with no walls. The people are rich, they're peaceful. Why are you just sitting up here in the cold north when all that good stuff is right there for the taking? You see how it works? It hits him right in his greed and his pride. He sees their lack of walls not as faith, but as just weakness and opportunity. Their peace looks like plunder to him. And man, does it work. Gog is completely sold. And he doesn't go it alone, oh no. He calls in his markers. He rallies this massive coalition, a whole host of nations from the mountains in the east to the burning deserts of the south. They all unite under his banner of pride and greed, all for one purpose, to crush this one peaceful field. And the imagery here is just wow. They covered the earth like a cloud. Think about that. This isn't just a big army. It's a force so huge it literally blots out the sun. It's like a living shadow falling over the whole land. And their confidence? It's absolute. They march with the confidence of the sand on the seashore. Just uncountable and completely sure of themselves. If you're one of the people in that field looking out, you'd think it's over. There's just no way. The outcome looks totally inevitable. But just when everything looks completely hopeless, the whole story takes a hard right turn. Right as that massive army is closing in, the Lord of the Harvest, the one who is the wall and the gate, steps in. And this is the moment everything changes. The quiet protector of the field suddenly shows a completely different side. We're talking hot anger.
The defense is no longer passive. It's about to become an unstoppable, terrifying offense.
And just look at the weapons he uses. We're not talking swords and spears here. No, the Lord of the Harvest literally turns creation itself on this army. The mountains start to crumble. A massive earthquake seizes every living thing. And then the sky just opens up, raining down fire, brimstone, and hailstones. I mean, this is a battle on a completely cosmic scale. And the result? It's decisive. It's absolute. Gog, his pride, his gigantic army, that unshakable confidence, all of it just gone, brought to nothing. The great warlord is completely broken, and not by another army, but by the very power that holds the world together in the first place. Okay, so the battle's over. The bad guys are defeated, but the story's not done. Now we get to the final, deeper meaning of it all, because the aftermath isn't just about throwing a victory party. It's about what this whole thing really means for the land and the people who live there. The story gives us this one very specific detail. It says that for 7 months, the land was cleansed. Now, why 7? That number is a huge deal here. It's definitely not just some random amount of time. And here's why it matters. That 7-month cleansing is all about symbolizing the completeness of the victory. It's not enough that the enemy is defeated. This is about wiping away every single trace of their corrupting influence, leaving the land totally pure again, a full restoration. And that fire that rained down from the sky, remember that? Well, that connects to an even bigger, more final idea. It's a direct echo of the fire you read about in the book of Revelation. It symbolizes the ultimate end of all rebellion, the final, total defeat of the deceiver himself. It's what clears the way for the eternal kingdom. So, at the end of it all, we get the moral of the story. The whole point of this massive cosmic event was to be a demonstration. It was meant to prove to everyone, to all the nations, that real security, that unbreakable wall, it doesn't come from our own strength or our own pride. It comes from a divine hand. So that leaves us with this final thought, something for you to chew on. The parable is about protection from an invading army, right? But what does that really mean for us today? If righteousness is our gates and the Lord is our wall, what are the northern gales in our own lives? What are the storms of pride and deception that kind of protection can truly shield us from?